Somewhere in your fridge right now, there's probably a carton of eggs. You crack one open most mornings and never think twice. But every single one of those eggs came from a hen, and every hen came from an egg that hatched into a chick. Half of those chicks were male. So here's the question that should bother you. Where did all the boys go? You'd think they just grew up somewhere else, maybe on a different farm, maybe turned into chicken nuggets. That seems normal. That seems fine. But it's not what happens. In fact, most male chicks never see their first full day of life. They are sorted and then they are gone within hours of hatching. Not sold, not raised, gone. And the reason is stranger and colder than almost anyone expects. Most people assume male chickens just get turned into meat, the same way male cows or male pigs do. But that's not quite right. The egg industry and the meat industry aren't even using the same kind of chicken. This is a split that runs so deep, an entire sex of an entire species has been engineered into uselessness. And the story of how that happened says something uncomfortable about you and about the eggs on your plate. Stay till the end, because the ending of this story is now playing out in laboratories, trying to fix a problem the entire industry created on purpose. So let's start with the obvious question. Why can't a male chicken just be raised for meat, the same way a female one can? Here's the twist. It's not that they can't, it's that it's not worth it. Not to the industry anyway. Imagine you were a farmer 100 years ago. Chickens back then did two jobs at once. Hens laid eggs, and when a hen or rooster got old, you ate it. One bird, two purposes. Slow, but simple. But somewhere in the middle of the 20th century, that changed forever. Breeders realized something. If you only care about eggs, you can breed a hen that lays constantly but has almost no meat on her body. And if you only care about meat, you can breed a bird that bulks up fast but barely lays eggs at all. So the industry split the chicken in two. One line became the layer, the other became the broiler. Two completely different animals, wearing the same feathers. A layer hen today can lay over 300 eggs a year. A broiler chicken can double its own body weight in about a week, over and over, until it's ready for slaughter in around 6 weeks. These aren't just different breeds, they're basically different machines, built for one job each. And that single decision is the reason male chicks are in trouble before they even hatch. But here's what's fascinating. The problem isn't that male layer chicks are useless animals. It's that they're the wrong tool for the job. A male chick from egg-laying parents will never lay an egg, obviously. But he also won't grow into a good meat bird either. His body was never bred for muscle. He grows slowly. He stays skinny. Feeding him for weeks just to get a small, stringy amount of meat costs more than the meat is worth. So picture the hatchery. Millions of eggs incubated once. They crack open. Fluffy yellow chicks everywhere, tiny and blind, and instinctively chirping for warmth. Workers separate them by sex almost immediately, using a method that's been used for decades, examining tiny features on the chick's body. The females go one way, toward a life of laying eggs. The males go another way. And that other way, for most of modern history, has ended the same day it began. So what actually happens to them? This is the part most people never learn, and the part the industry doesn't advertise. Male layer chicks are typically culled within hours of hatching. Historically, this has been done by fast mechanical methods, or by gas. Multiply that by every hatchery in every country that produces egg-laying hens. Estimates have placed the number of male chicks culled worldwide at somewhere around 6 to 7 billion every single year. Billion every year. Not because the chicks did anything wrong, not because they're inedible, but because economically, they're the wrong shape of animal for a system built entirely around efficiency. And it might be the strangest part of all. For most of human history, this problem didn't even exist. Roosters used to matter. Farmers raised young male chickens specifically to eat, birds sometimes called cockerels, and in some traditions, males were even castrated as young birds, called capons, to make their meat more tender before slaughter. Capon meat was once considered a delicacy across parts of Europe, so the male chicken wasn't always a problem to dispose of. He used to be dinner. What changed wasn't biology, it was math. Modern broiler breeds grow meat so much faster and so much more cheaply that raising a slow-growing layer breed male for food stopped making financial sense. Why wait months for a scrawny bird when a broiler chick can be ready in weeks with way more meat per bag of feed? The industrial chicken didn't just get more efficient, it got so efficient that the old normal, a dual-purpose bird, a rooster in the yard, got pushed out almost entirely. But then, the story didn't stay hidden. Once people outside the industry learned how many male chicks were being culled every year, it became one of the most quietly explosive facts in modern food production. Because think about what this means for you specifically. Every carton of eggs represents a hidden twin. For every hen laying eggs in a barn somewhere, there was, at some point, a brother. Same parents, same hatch day, different fate, decided almost instantly, based on nothing he did. You didn't choose that, the industry did, generations before you were even born. But your breakfast is still connected to it. So what killed the old system, the one where every chicken had value? Public pressure did. Starting in the 2020s, some countries began banning the mass culling of male chicks outright. Germany and France both moved to ban the practice, pushing hatcheries toward new technology instead of destruction. And that technology sounds almost like science fiction: in-ovo sex determination. Scientists developed ways to determine a chick's sex before it even hatches, sometimes by scanning the egg, sometimes by testing a tiny sample of fluid from inside the shell, days before the embryo can feel anything. If the egg is male, it's removed and used for other purposes, like animal feed, before a chick ever forms enough to suffer. If it's female, it continues incubating, hatches, and grows up to become a laying hen. It's not a perfect fix. It doesn't undo billions of birds culled over decades, but it's the first real crack in a system that ran unquestioned for most of a century. Compare that to your own life for a second. You've probably never thought about the sex of a chicken egg before it hatched. Why would you? It happens in a hatchery you'll never see, to animals you'll never meet, generations removed from the carton in your fridge. That's exactly how industrial systems survive, not through secrecy, but through distance. The further a process is from your eyes, the less you question it. It's not that anyone lied to you, it's that no one ever had to. So here's what it comes down to. A chicken's fate isn't decided by what it does. It's decided before it hatches, by which breed its parents belong to, and by what job the industry needed done. Lay eggs, and you live. Grow meat fast, and you live. Do neither well, and for most of the last century, you simply weren't allowed to exist past day one. That's not cruelty in the traditional sense. It's optimization. Cold, quiet, and almost invisible, unless someone tells you where to look. And maybe that's the real reason this story sticks with people. Because it's not really about chickens. It's about how easily a system can decide something has no value, simply because it doesn't fit the shape of what's profitable. You've probably felt some version of that yourself, being sorted, being measured against a role you didn't choose, being told implicitly that you're only worth what you produce. The chicken never got a say in the matter. You still do. Next time you crack an egg into a pan, you'll probably still just see breakfast. But somewhere behind that simple, ordinary moment, there's a story about efficiency and value and who gets to exist because of what they can do for someone else. We built an entire system that decided half a species wasn't worth keeping. And most of us never even knew there was a decision to make.